again. Thank you for joining us. This is your 21-22 VPK Provider Orientation. And in front of you on your screen, you should see the agenda. So tonight we are going to talk briefly about VPK and about the history behind VPK. So I'm going to jump right into this. VPK, as you know, has held a very important place in our history in Florida. It was introduced into our Constitution by Governor Jeb Bush on January 2nd, 2005. We have come a long way since that first year of VPK. Some of you on this call right now have been in VPK and offering VPK since the inception of the program. So there is a brief history in your packet that you can use to share with your staff, families that ask you. I encourage you, share, because research has shown us a little bit of VPK is better than no VPK and no preschool experience whatsoever. VPK prepares children to enter kindergarten with confidence and to go through their educational life, if you will, prepared. And as we know, if we enter school prepared, we're entering life prepared. And I don't know about you, but I really love being prepared for what's coming my way. So tonight we are going to talk about, and we're going to go over the requirements of VPK. The next section in your packet, as we are initiating your VPK application, you will see different pieces that you have to input in your VPK application. We initiate it here at the Coalition, and then you will access it through the Contracts tab on your VPK or on your provider profile within EFS Mod. So on the screen in front of you is actually an excerpt, and there the Manage Contracts tab is being highlighted for you. That's where you want to start your process and your journey into creating a VPK application. So in your packet that you have, you can download your packet. It's a part of this webinar here. And for those of you that will be joining us through the training portion of this after, this webinar will be, you'll be provided with the packet so that you can follow along the training however you wish, whatever your learning style is. We want to meet that. So the excerpt that's in your packet now is actually pulled from the guidance that is provided to you through EFS Mod. The Office of Early Learning, that is about to turn into the Division of Early Learning here shortly, has created a provider portal user guide. And right now on your screen is being highlighted our website, the ELC website, where you can find the entire document of this user guide. Now the user guide has recently been updated last October and is periodically updated, and we will keep our website apprised of the most current version of it for you. So this guide, if you were to click and download it right now, it is extremely enormous. And the reason being is because, and we love this, especially in early childhood, it has pictures. So there are screenshots and there are different guidance portions. And what we've pulled out for you, and when I initiated your VPK application, you received an email from me that had this entire document attached to it. It is a step-by-step guide to help you complete your profile. Okay, this is your VPK application. So in order to have a VPK application, you had to complete a provider profile. And in that profile, you had to tell us that you wanted to offer VPK. And that's how this application came to be initiated for you. So moving forward, this goes from page 74 in the guidance all the way, and you might hear my pages rumbling because it's a long ways, down to page 95. So there is a lot for you to follow here. And the reason we wanted to pull it out is because this document has it all. It has everything from attendance to enrolling children to how to create your application to talking about your calendar. Every piece that you need to know about EFS Mod and your provider profile when it comes to, well, all of it, your provider profile and your VPK application is all encompassed in this document. So we're going to move forward and talk about your staffing requirements. So after we scroll all the way past this guidance that you're going to use to create your VPK application, It talks about how to input your teachers and how to create your calendars and and we're going to talk about the calendars in a little bit, but it talks about every single piece. It talks about reviewing your application to make sure you captured everything you wanted to share with us about your VPK site on paper, and this even goes into certifying and submitting. So once we get past that, the next piece talks about updating. You see, it's forever long, very detailed with pictures. And we keep going. And here we come to a very recently updated VPK teacher requirement document. Now, these handouts are a part of this webinar, so those of you that are on the webinar live can download them so that you have them. And we will also follow up with an email that sends it out. Those of you that are taking this as a training after the live event, then we will send you these handouts through email. The lead teacher requirements, they have not changed. Okay, they have stayed the same for a little while now. There has been a huge piece of legislation that was just passed in May of 2021, so just recently, last month, that will encompass new teacher requirements. You don't have to worry about those for this year. Okay, you're going to worry about those for next year, and we are going to help you through that. For this year, your lead teachers must have these 5 pieces that are on the top portion of this document. So these are the lead teachers that are in your classrooms. They have to have a CDA or the equivalent, which the Department of Children and Families here in Florida has approved the equivalent of the national CDA, which is your FCCPC. They have to have an emergent literacy training, which right now is a 5-hour course that they have to take. And they have to take a student performance standards training course. That's the long version of the VPK standards. Okay. Then, of course, just like any staff member that is under your roof, they need a good moral character and a level 2 background screening on file, renewed. The level 2 background screening is renewed every 5 years. Now, if you have a fall program or a school year program and you want to have more than 11 students in that class, as soon as that 12th child is enrolled, you'll want to hire an aide or have a teacher aide in that classroom. The teacher aide only has the requirement of having the good moral character and the level 2 background screening requirement. Now, the next piece here, this is the really updated portion of today's training when it comes to teacher requirements. The substitute teacher requirement information is right here for you to read through. Especially in our climate right now, we are relying upon our floating teachers and our substitute teachers because everything we're hearing from childcare providers is that you can't find staff. So you are relying on staff to fill multiple roles. And we understand that. And so does the VPK statute and the rules. So there is an option for you to incorporate a substitute teacher into your classroom. In front of you is the requirements for those substitute teachers. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because you can read what it is right there. And if you have additional questions about it, you can reach out to our team and we will help guide you through that. And the second page, if we keep scrolling down, it actually tells you what the actual requirements are for the sub. And we also included the actual rule in there for you too. And then here is a tracking form. Okay, so the purpose behind the tracking form is a substitute cannot be in your classroom for VPK for more than 30% of the program hours. So it is the responsibility of the VPK provider to ensure that you're tracking the number of hours that the substitute is in your classroom as the lead teacher. So with that being said, the sub qualifications, they have to either meet the qualifications of a credentialed instructor that was listed on page 1, and the requirements are different depending on if you're offering a school year program or a summer program. They're also different if you are a center-based provider or if you're a family child care home provider or a large family child care home provider. So the different options are listed there for you. They're taken directly from Rule 6M. I got lost.
8.9.
think it's on the second or the first page. I have it detailed out. I think it's 6M-8.14. I think
6M-8.410.
So I had my numbers backwards, pardon me, but we have the rule then. Actually, if you can go down to the next page is the actual rule that we have to go by. So you see the difference between how we kind of summarized the teacher qualifications. We pulled out those pieces for you so you could see them on the previous pages. This is the entire rule language. So if you need it, there it is. And then there is a link as well to the rule in the previous document too. So please, please, please use those teacher requirement pieces to support you when you're looking at how to build your classrooms and what teachers you want to use. Here is the form, the substitute tracking form. You do not have to use this. This is not a requirement. This is just something that we created to try to help providers maintain that form that's required. So if you want to use it, you're welcome to use it. If not, you are responsible for tracking substitute hours. And when we come out to monitor your VPK program, we will ask to see your tracking form. So we created this form to try to make it easier for you. And if you need a copy of it, we can put it on our website. So we are going to talk real quick before we get into VPK assessment, which is the next thing on your screen. I just want to give you a couple of reminders because there isn't anything in your packet that necessarily talks about it because it was all in that piece, the very first portion that came out of the guidance document. We want to give you a couple reminders about VPK classroom details and the calendars, okay? So a couple reminders about the calendars is that you cannot start your VPK program, and Marcy's going to try to locate that piece in the guidance for us. Thank you. You cannot start your VPK program, though, before the public school system starts school or before Labor Day. So this year coming up, the public school system is starting the fall. We're starting in the fall on August 10th. So you can start anytime August 10th or after for your VPK fall program, okay? Your fall program must consist of 540 hours. Please, please, please think about the class times. We highly encourage you to use quarter hours when you're creating your classroom schedules. So for example, when you're offering VPK, if you want to go 8 a.m. to 11:15, that's fantastic. That's on a quarter hour. You can end at 11. Please, please, please don't go 8 a.m. to 11:02. That 02, that extra 2 minutes in your day is extremely difficult for our system to track. It's extremely difficult for you to reconcile your payments on. It's extremely difficult when a child is transferring to or from your program into another program. So we really, really, really want to encourage you, please keep to the quarter hours or a whole hour or a half hour. So if you're going to start at, let's say 9 a.m., 9, 10, 11, 12, you're going to do a 3-hour day. If that's typical, that's pretty typical for VPK fall programs. Then you're going to end it 9 to 12. Those are crisp, clean hours. We love them. The system loves them. Your parents love them. Your teachers will love them. So if you need help figuring out what will work best for you, please contact us and we'll help walk you through it. Non-instructional days. There are going to be times where you decide not to offer VPK, but the rest of your site remains open. The best example I can give of this are dates like spring break, winter holiday break, the Thanksgiving break. Oftentimes you will not offer your VPK class, but you'll be open because you have school agers coming. And your VPKers may still come, but they're not actually going to VPK. It's a different schedule, if you will, for that short time frame. When that occurs, you're going to put that in as a non-instructional day. And we're going to encourage you to make sure you match those non-instructional days with your closure calendar that you put in your school readiness profile, well, in your provider profile. Let me pause and see if my cohorts here in the room with me, which is Marcy and Lily, by the way, if they would like to add anything to that.
So this is Marcy. And I am going to add that we have had sites that will mark a closed day on their profile calendars, but not mark their VPK calendar as closed. And that's where part of the challenges come in, and you have to make additional changes to your VPK calendars. So basically, your VPK calendar, you could have more closures, but it must include all closures that are on your profile calendar.
Perfect, beautiful, thank you. These are important pieces. While we might not have, we have the guidance in front of you, and we didn't put anything specific necessarily in the packet. These are things that we really want you to keep in the forefront of your mind as you're planning your class. It is helpful for everybody involved.
Also, if you change your closure, this is Lily. Hi, y'all. Also, if something happens and you end up changing your last day of your VPK on your calendar and in the VPK app, please remember that you need to make those changes in Bright Beginnings as well, because it's a very important piece into determining when it comes to your assessment.
And that is a perfect segue right into our assessment piece. Thank you, Lily. That's perfect. So VPK assessments. This is an extremely important part of your VPK program. It is in your contract. What you have in your packet is a frequently asked questions piece that kind of gives you an overview of what it is. I want to remind you of the timeframes that go along with it. So all of you are required to participate in assessment period 1. We call it AP1 for short. And assessment period 3. We call that AP3 for short. Convenient, yeah? So what you need to focus on is set a calendar, tell Alexa to tell you when it's due, set a timer, whatever you have to do, but your assessments must be conducted with your children within the first 30 days of your VPK class starting. So that's AP1. AP3 must be conducted within 30 days of your classroom ending. That's AP3. For both of these assessments, you have a 15-day window to enter them into Bright Beginnings. If you're not familiar with Bright Beginnings FL, you need to become very familiar with Bright Beginnings. There are links, and when we get to the end of your packet, there is a resource page that has the link to it so that you can go and discover this yourself. Most of you already know what it is. You are responsible for entering your teacher information, your classroom information, your student information, and the data from the actual assessment. Bright Beginnings is also where you order an assessment kit. So for some of you, you may not have an assessment kit yet. That is where you go to order it, but not yet. You don't want to order your assessment kit until after we execute your contract. I've already had to deny a couple of requests for assessment kits because there is a time frame when we are allowed to approve those orders going out. And you do have to be contracted before I can approve your request for your assessment kit. Now, another piece to this is if you are a provider on probation, or if you really enjoy doing the VPK assessment, which I really do like the assessment and I encourage it, AP2 is an option for you. AP2, assessment period 2, is typically an option unless you're a provider on probation and you chose a specific path for your improvement plan. AP2 is optional for you. The benefit of you conducting assessment period 2, which will occur in the middle of your program year, there's no time frame associated around it because the middle of your program is going to happen at different times depending on when you started your program. So that's another reminder to set Alexa up for. So when you set your reminder for your AP2, it's a great gauge for where your students are in the middle of the year. It gives you time to adjust your curricula to really make VPK an individual experience for the kids that you are teaching. Now, why? Why do we do assessments? What is the point? So the point of the assessments is because these assessments will show growth. The pre-assessment will show where a child walked into your classroom at, and the AP3 will show how they ended in VPK. It'll show growth. It gives Kudos, it allows you to brag about your program and your teachers and your staff and what you have to offer to these little minds that came through your VPK program. It also provides a percentage of the scoring that goes towards the Florida Kindergarten Readiness Screener, or the Kindergarten Readiness Rate. The screener, I misspoke there for a second, the Flickers, Florida Kindergarten Readiness Screener, is a screening that is completed when the child enters kindergarten within the first 30 days. And that screening is created as a subset of an observation plus the STAR early literacy tool that's conducted online. The children are then given a score based on some other parameters, like they must have been there on testing day, step one. They must have attended 70% of your program in order to be counted in this score. So then a percentage of your AP3, so going back to the assessment, percentage of that gets combined with the child's score from Flickers to create your kindergarten readiness rate. Currently, the cutoff for kindergarten readiness is a score of 60. If your site scored a cumulative score of 60 or above, up to 100, then you are not considered a provider on probation and you are considered to be offering VPK at an acceptable pace. If you are under 60, if you're 59 or below, then you are considered to be a provider on probation, and we do have to enter into a quality improvement plan with you. There's a lot of reasons for this, and there's a lot of pieces that go into it, but we are here to support you. We are here to help you through it. We're here to help you find a strategy that works for you, your program, and your teachers and the children that are enrolled, and we will support you through all of it. So don't fear the score. Don't fear the score, and please, 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 and said it in this morning's class too, do not let that score define you. You are more than a score. The end of the VPK assessment frequently asked questions has a phone number on it, and Lily would like to share a piece of information about that program, or that phone number.
So you'll see where it says VPK Assessment Help Desk. That is for questions, if you have questions pertaining to the VPK program and VPK program requirements. However, if you have specific questions pertaining to Bright Beginnings and how assessments are put into Bright Beginnings, or anything that has to do with Bright Beginnings specifically, you'll want to go to Bright Beginnings, go to the yellow box where you click to log in, and when you log in, where you put in your username, below where you put your username and password, there'll be this long yellow box, and it has the help desk phone number and email address.
I'm impressed, because she did that without even looking at it. So that shows you how involved our staff are in making sure that you have the resources you need. So that was impressive, really. Next on our agenda, we're going to talk about sign-in and out sheets and the long and short forms. So since day one and the inception of VPK, we have had these child attendance parental choice certificate, the long form and the short form. The long and short of it is that these forms are there to hopefully prevent fraudulent activity. So these forms are a verification that is given to you, provider, and then you give it to us to verify the parent is saying, yes, my child was in VPK when you claimed attendance for them. So if you are not using a sign in and out sheet or an electronic sign in and out platform, then you will want to choose to use the long form here. This form, you're going to fill one out every month for every child, and it is meant to be used daily. So basically you would complete the form as if it were a calendar. You're going to start with whatever the first day of the month is. Like we happen to know from looking at the calendar, August 10th is a Tuesday. So you would start the calendar August 10th, and then the parent, and you can see that Marcy is giving you an example. It won't let her type into that box, but it let her check the box. So you would enter we're trying so hard to show you. You would enter the calendar days in there though, and then you can select, you can either do it electronically, you can, if you have nice handwriting and we can read it, you can write it at the top. You can have the parent fill it out, but again, it needs to be legible. And so every day that the parent picks up, when the parent comes to pick up their child from VPK or the end of the day, you're going to have them check off the box for the day that they were there. At the end of the month, this is either the last day of your VPK program for the month or the day after. you're going to have the parent sign that this is a true, accurate depiction of the attendance. And there, Marcy's highlighting it for you, or handing it, I don't know. But that's where you have the parent sign. It cannot be an electronic signature for this. Once these are completed, you're uploading them to BlueJean, okay, on a monthly basis. We do check these. We do have to have them before we can process your attendance. So this is the form you want to use if you are not using a sign in and out sheet. And yes, if you're only doing VPK, it is an option for you not to have a sign in and out sheet. This can be it for you. The next form, or the other option for you, is the short form. Now this form is a form that you will use the same form for each child. So you want to create one for each student. And you're going to use this month after month after month. This goes along with your sign in and out sheets or your electronic report that you pull and upload to BlueJean for us. This goes right along with it. So you're going to have the parent, once again, on the last day of the month, they're going to confirm that their child was in attendance on the days that you claimed attendance for. So they will sign each line, one per month. Now, what I will tell you, we've had these submitted with the parent signing all 12 months of the year. Most VPKs don't offer class for all 12 months of the year, but we've had these filled out and submitted the first week VPK was in session. Please don't do that. That is considered fraudulent, and we will have to do some TA with you, technical assistance. So you're going to have on the last day of your program or after, you're going to have the parent certify one line for the month prior that the child was in attendance. So this is the form you're going to use if you do have sign in and out sheets. This is not an option for providers. All providers have to choose one or the other, but not both. So just pick one and stick with whichever one you're going to use, and it is acceptable. Both of them get uploaded with your sign in and out sheet to BlueJean, or if you're using long form, of course, no sign in and out sheet needed. Now we're going to talk about the next section is VPK attendance. So what you have in front of you, again, is going to look very familiar because it is out of the OEL guidance book for the EFS mod provider profile, or provider, profile. This walks you through, just like it did for you to fill out your application, this walks you right through how to create your attendance and submit it. So how to enter your attendance, I should say, and then submit it. And it gives you step-by-step with pictures, guidance on how to do that. Please make sure you hit submit at the end of your process with attendance. Those of you that do school readiness, you're going to find that this is a similar experience for you. Those of you that don't, well, welcome aboard. There is also in that guidance book, and I want to encourage you to do check out the full version of it that is on our website, because in that guidance, there is instructions on how to enter a certificate of eligibility, or we call them a COE. That is how a child becomes eligible to enter your program, your VPK program. Without that certificate of eligibility, do not accept that child into your program, because we are talking about your money. You won't get paid unless the child is enrolled at your program. And in order to do so, there are steps that you need to take to enroll. Go ahead.
Please remember, after you get done submitting your attendance, you want to go back to the 2 months prior to that attendance and make sure all of your children have this APP right next to them. If they have rejected or nothing, you want to look into those children and resubmit them. The reason why I'm bringing this up is we had almost 300 children that had been outstanding there, and it slows your end of class reconciliation process down at the end of your class. So once all of these are cleaned up, and we want to make sure that we're paying you for every child, then we'll be able to process forms in a timely manner at that point. And remember, according to your contract, you only have 60 days to make reclaims, and these are considered reclaims.
These are very important pieces to remember. This is how you get paid for VPK. We take supporting you very seriously, so please don't hesitate to reach out. If it is a question about the EFS mod system, you can send an email to efsmod@elc-marion.org. If you have a question for our quality team, you can send an email to quality@elc-marion.org. Both of these emails go to multiple team members so that we can try to address your concerns timely and help you resolve any issues you might come across. So we encourage you to use those. You can always give us a call at 369-2315 with an area code 352, of course. If you hit 200, you'll get to our wonderful admin staff up front who can guide you along the way, or you can hit extension 101 and it'll take you to the quality department, and it brings up all of our desks. So we'll be happy to help you. The last thing in your packet is a VPK provider resources sheet. This just gives you quick links to places that we find helpful. The first one being our website. I love our website. This link takes you right to our provider resources page, where there are lots of resources that Marcy showed you earlier, from help guides to a really cute What I Learned in VPK teacher guide and child portfolio. There are all sorts of different pieces on there to help support your journey through getting VPK up and running or celebrating your next year. So we hope that you'll use these resources to help you out in the event that you need help and can't get quite to us right away. The other piece on there is the Office of Early Learning. This has everything and anything you could want to know about VPK. Also has guides for families, has information about coalitions across the state. It has general information about the VPK program, other pieces that you might find helpful as you're talking to families or having a family night. And it just is all around, it's everything you could want to know. There's a lot to go through there.
It even has professional development.
And it has training, professional development opportunities, like Lily said. The other pieces on that resource guide is the Florida Kindergarten Readiness Rates. This is where you can find the readiness rates for our entire state, including yourself, if you've been a provider with us in the past. The Bright Beginnings website link is there for you. And then also a link for Blue Jean. These are all pieces that I think our team, we visit regularly. And when we're working with you, we're there, we're pulling guidance off of there. And we hope that you'll use those for your benefit. So that wraps up our VPK orientation for fiscal year 21-22. We look forward to a fantastic VPK year, and pat yourself on the back because you are now oriented.